Hi everybody, it's Edie at the Garden of Edie, and all month long we are celebrating spring cleaning. And well, you saw how messy my spice drawer got, so I had to clean it out. And I have a lot of good tips on spices, how to clean out your drawer, how to shop. So here's what you do. Number one, remove all the spices from your drawer. Now I know a lot of people don't have a drawer like this. I got this idea because my mom had a big, long drawer, and she had all these spices because she loved to cook too. And so I love using all different sorts of spices. You may have just a few spices, but it's really important to clean out your spices at least once a year. So here's what I did. I removed everything, put it on my counter, cleaned out the drawer with a rag and vacuum and got it all nice and clean. Then I went through every single spice to look at the use by date. Most of them will have a use by date on the bottom. If they don't, just do the smell and taste test. So smell it. If you can't really smell much, then you might want to just taste it. And if it's a dry spice, you can just kind of rub it between your fingers, take a little taste, and if it's not very tasty, you got to replace. Because if you go to cook something and it calls for spices, and you're going to say, this recipe didn't work, well, it might have been just the spices weren't fresh enough to give it that added flavor. And you can just keep adding more and more and more, but you're not going to get that delicious, wonderful, fresh tasting spice taste. Number three is shopping. How do you shop for spices? Well, I love going online to Lior. You know I talk about this all the time at La Boite, New York City, because he sources his spices from all over the world, and they're so super fresh. And they come in jars like this. Sometimes they're larger, sometimes they're smaller. He has a use by date, and they're in nice compact jars. So that I love, but you can find really good ones in the grocery store. You can see I am non-denominational. I shop all over the place. I love this brand, Raji, Simply Organic, wherever I can find it when I need it. So shop. And also the other idea about shopping is single spices versus blended spices. So sometimes you'll find spices that are already blended, like this, I keep going to this one, like this Ararat. Now, this was a gift. Someone gave this to me. I have not used it. And I realize it's a blend of several spices, Urfa and smoked paprika and fennel pollen, I believe. And that sounds delicious, but it also has salt in it. And at Garden of Edie, we really try to lower that salt. And if you find blended spices, look at the ingredients. They'll usually have salt, sugar, MSG. We don't want those in our diet. What I love to do is create my own blend. So I do a lot of my own blends, and why not? It's so special and more delicious, and you can add a little more of this and a little less of that, depending on your own taste. So think about blending your own spices. We have a few of those recipes on Garden of Edie. Number four, you want to store in a cool, dark space. A lot of people will put it up on their range, and it gets heat, humidity from the steam, and light from the sun, and they'll go bad in a second. Number five, alphabetical order. It's really important. A recipe would call for 5 spices or 6 spices. I'd take them all out and I'd measure them, and then I'd put them back in, and everything got messy that way. I suggest 1 spice at a time, measure it, put it right back in. And that way everything will stay in beautiful alphabetical order, and you'll be able to find it. So it makes cooking easier and more efficient and quicker. Number 6, use it up. When you go to look at all your spices, you're gonna say, I haven't used this one, and it's already been past a year. In fact, it's 2 years, it's 3 years old. What do I do? But sometimes you really need that spice for a recipe. Well, number 7, share with a friend. Go with a friend that loves to cook just like you do. Purchase all the spices that you like together. Get smaller jars. You can get small jars like this, or a little bit larger like that. You can do all different types of jars. You can buy these jars online. There's all different sizes, and split it up. And then you're going to want to get a good label that sticks. I need a better label because some of my labels do not stick. But you get a nice, good label. See, this is my own spice blend, Lebanon Baharat. This is another of my spice blend. I used old jars from something else, Biber, which is an Ethiopian delicious spice, and split it up. And share your recipes too. So here's to spring cleaning all month long. You will feel so at peace when you go to cook, when your spices are all aligned in beautiful arrangement. It will inspire you. Happy spring, everybody.